The stranger. She knew Lucy had always been the cautious one. She was the type to double-lock doors, scan unknown numbers before answering, and Google anyone she was about to meet for coffee. She built walls not just around her house, but around her heart. So when her best friend Sophie introduced her to Ryan, charming, poised, and successful, Lucy did what she rarely did. She let her guard down. "He's not like the others," Sophie had said, swirling wine in her glass at their favorite rooftop bar. "He just got back from Singapore, works in cybersecurity, super low-key, but Lucy, he asked about you." Ryan, with his clean-cut look and calm confidence, seemed harmless. More than that, he seemed genuine. For months, Lucy and Ryan saw each other. Walks in the park turned into weekend getaways. Texts turned into long, late-night calls. Her world slowly wrapped around him, like ivy climbing brick. But then came the first ask. "Hey, babe, something weird's going on with my bank. They froze my account because of a name mismatch from when I lived abroad. Could I use your account just for this transfer? It's urgent. My mom needs the surgery." Lucy hesitated, but she said yes, because she loved him. That transfer became another, then another. When she finally checked, her savings account, every penny, was gone. Her ID had been used to open multiple shell accounts. Her credit? Ruined. Ryan disappeared. She tried everything, calling him, tracking him, even hiring a private investigator. But it was like chasing smoke. Until one day, she got a call. "Miss Lucy Tran, this is Detective Morrigan from the London Cybercrimes Unit. We believe you're one of many women defrauded by a man using the alias Ryan Matthews. We have reason to believe you knew him under a different name." Lucy dropped the phone. 3 months later, she sat in a courtroom, watching as 3 women testified against the man she once thought she'd marry. But Lucy didn't testify, not yet. She had her own plan. Because Lucy had a secret, one even Ryan didn't know. Back in college, Lucy had once assumed someone else's identity for a year to escape a stalker. She learned how systems work, how identity slips between cracks, how to hide and how to reinvent. Ryan wasn't the only one who knew how to become a ghost. She waited until he was behind bars, awaiting trial. Then she visited. "Lucy," he said, eyes wide. She smiled, not sweetly, not warmly, but cold, clean, like a blade. "Hello, Ryan, or should I say Oliver Chen. You think I didn't know who you were? That I didn't trace you back to the foundation scam in Dubai? You thought you scammed me, but you handed me every tool I needed to end you." His jaw tightened. "What do you want?" "Closure," she whispered, "and to tell you that everything you ever taught me, I'm going to use to rebuild what you broke, but better, safer, for women like me." She stood up. "Goodbye, Ryan." He shouted her name as the guards pulled him back. She didn't flinch. 5 years later, Lucy now runs an underground support network for women who've been conned, used, and broken. She helps them reclaim stolen identities, rebuild credit, and in some cases, quietly retaliate. No one asks about her past. But sometimes, late at night, she'll sit on her balcony and smile empty, bittersweet. Because the truth is, you never really escape someone like Ryan. You just become someone they'll never see coming. Episode 2. The Woman Who Smiled Too Sweetly. 6 months after her last operation, Lucy retreated to a remote island, but peace never lasted. Word had reached her. The woman who once loved Ryan, the same woman who stood by him in court, was now rumored to be taking over his contacts. Even worse, she was his mother. Under a new identity, Lucy returned to the city, quietly. She got a job as a journalist at a fringe publication, one that gave her the access she needed. Her mission? Expose Ryan's mother, Isabel Chen, a philanthropist with a suspicious financial trail and whispers of bribed judges and missing witnesses. But Lucy wasn't ready for what she saw in the hospital. Isabel, cold, elegant, guarded, was visiting someone, a man Lucy couldn't see. Until she did. Ryan. He was alive. Pale, thin, hair shaved from chemotherapy. Cancer had eaten away the edges of the predator, but not the venom in his stare. And standing by him, a woman from Lucy's past network, someone she'd trusted who had disappeared without warning. Betrayal cut deeper than any scam. When the traitor saw Lucy, her face froze. She followed Lucy outside, into the rain. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. "I thought he'd changed." Lucy didn't speak. She couldn't. All she could see was the tangled web tightening again. Later that night, Lucy dug deeper. Court records, property trails, offshore transfers. Isabel had kept Ryan's empire alive, hiding it in fake charities and silent investments. But that wasn't the worst. One folder, deep in the archives of a closed bank, linked Lucy's own surname to Isabel. A forgotten lawsuit, a custody dispute, a hidden affair. Isabel wasn't just Ryan's mother. She was Lucy's. 6 months had passed since the hospital revelation. Lucy was back in the city, living in a small rented flat above an antique bookstore. She'd tried to disappear again, change her name, cut ties, dissolve the network she once built. But ghosts don't leave when called. They linger. Every day she watched her back. She knew Isabel was searching. Knew there were silent watchers, men in clean suits with polite questions for her neighbors. Still, she stayed, because she had one last story to write. Isabel's operation wasn't just built on deception. It was layered with power, high-level political favors, shell foundations, public sympathy, and somewhere deep inside, Lucy suspected Ryan's cancer wasn't the end game. It was a distraction. She followed the money to a research facility run by Isabel's charity. They claimed to be developing gene therapy, but Lucy found purchase logs for surveillance tech and a list of test subjects, women, rehabilitated scam victims. Her stomach turned. One day, on her way back from tailing an investor, Lucy felt a hand on her shoulder. It was her old friend, the one who'd betrayed her. "She knows you're her daughter," the friend whispered, "and she's not trying to find you to kill you. She wants to bring you in, to make you her heir." Lucy froze. Back home, she found a letter slipped under her door, cream paper, gold trim. Inside, just 2 words, "Come home." The face behind the smoke. The morning haze of the city wrapped around Lucy like a cold whisper as she stood outside the glass-walled cafe, staring at the man seated inside. Ryan. He looked smaller than before, sallow skin, thinner frame, an oxygen cannula discreetly tucked along his cheekbones. Time had humbled him, or perhaps death was doing what prison never could. He looked up. Their eyes met. She walked in. "You shouldn't have come," he rasped as she sat across from him. "You shouldn't have lived," she replied coolly. He chuckled, then winced in pain. "Guess karma's got a sense of humor. Stage 4. I have maybe weeks." "Why summon me?" Ryan leaned in. "Because I have nothing left to gain, or lose. But she, my mother, still does. And she's planning something. It's bigger than you think." Lucy narrowed her eyes. "Why warn me?" He stared at her a long moment. "Because for once in my miserable life, I want to do something right." Silence stretched between them. Then he slid an envelope across the table. Inside, photos, offshore account numbers, a list of names. Many crossed out, one still circled in red, Aria LaRue. "The one person my mother fears," Ryan whispered. "Find her." Lucy left without another word. That night, she drove 4 hours out of the city to an old vineyard nestled in the valley. The address Ryan gave her was no more than a crumbling estate covered in ivy and silence. She knocked. No answer. She tried the door. It creaked open. Inside, the walls were lined with dusty books and fading oil portraits. The air smelled like old wine and secrets. A voice echoed from the study. "I was wondering when someone would come." Aria LaRue was nothing like Lucy expected. Mid-60s, tall, silver hair twisted into a braid, eyes sharp as glass. "I knew Ryan would send someone eventually. What did he tell you?" "That you're the only person his mother fears." Aria let out a dry laugh. "She should." Then she poured 2 glasses of brandy and gestured for Lucy to sit. "Her real name isn't Elizabeth Matthews," Aria began. "It's Eliska Marenko. Czech intelligence, back in the 80s, brilliant, cold. She vanished in 92, resurfaced here as a philanthropist, married to an oil tycoon." Lucy's stomach churned. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because if she finds out you know, she won't hesitate. But if you act first..." Aria slid a key across the table. "This opens a safe in Geneva. Inside is everything. Transactions, names, and evidence enough to burn her world to ash." Lucy stared at the key. "Why help me?" Aria's face darkened. "Because Eliska destroyed my family too." As Lucy left the estate, wind tearing through the vineyard vines, her phone buzzed. A blocked number. She answered. A soft voice spoke. "Tick-tock, Lucy. You're not the only one who knows how to chase ghosts." The line went dead. Lucy looked at the key in her hand. It had begun.